Alice's Adventures in Wonderland was an 1865 novel written by an English mathematician, Charles Lutwidge Dodson, also known as Lewis Carroll. Sometimes I've believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. It was eventually shortened to the title that everyone knows as Alice in Wonderland.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Henry Liddell was a man who had worked in a church with his family, and their second daughter was named Alice. The family then became friends with Charles Lutwidge Dodson, who loved children and telling them his exotic stories. On that day, Alice was 10 years old, and her 2 sisters were sent out on a rowboat with Dodson and his friends. On this ride, Alex asked him to tell her one of his stories, and so he did. The story was about a girl named Alice who fell down a rabbit hole and ended up in a fantasy world. The real Alice was so excited that she had asked Dodson to write this down for her. As he did, he drew his own illustrations and added his extra chapters. This started all kinds of ideas in Dodson's head for different titles and adventures. It went from Alice's Adventures Underground to Alice's Adventures in Wonderland to different titles and illustrations, until eventually it became the big hit and turned into Alice in Wonderland. The story tells of a girl named Alice falling through a rabbit hole into a fantasy world populated by peculiar creatures. The story presents everyday logic to attract not only children, but parents as well. This had started off as a tale of a girl named Alice traveling through Wonderland. All the different characters were inspired through real-life people that Dodson had encountered within his real life. As stated before, Alice was named after the real-life girl named Alice Little. Growing up, Alice had realized she was tired of being a fantasy character and did not want to be part of it anymore. In her last years, she said she was tired of being Alice in Wonderland. She died in 1934 at the age of 82. This novel was then transitioned into a film for everyone to see. The film was shot in the United Kingdom and in the United States. The story is a very loose retelling of the English author Lewis Carroll's 1865 fantasy novel, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, and its 1871 sequel, Through the Looking Glass. These films have been around for many years and bring joy to many people. The latest version is the 2010 version directed by Tim Burton. The film was produced by Walt Disney Pictures and shot in the United Kingdom and the United States. Alice in Wonderland received many mixed reviews when it was released. The film was praised for its special effects, but it was also criticized for its lack of narrative coherence and overuse of computer-generated imaginary, CGI. Although the movie had received some brutal negative reviews, it still made over $1,250 billion for the box office. The novel and the movie are still present today and loved by many.